Hello, welcome. It is, what is it? It's the 21st of March. It's another Friday. We're almost one quarter of the way through this year that we're calling 2025. And this is episode 259. It's the one before our fifth birthday. So next week is our fifth birthday. Haven't got anything special planned. So if I'm going to do anything, it's can be very much off the cuff. As we say. But welcome to the show, and I hope you are well wherever you may be. It is just gone 7 p.m. here in the UK, and for all of our American friends, well done for observing the oddness between our two differing daylight saving time shifts. You go first. Yeah, America always comes early. And we follow up later on. We don't go forward until the 30th, which is a week on Sunday. So we've got one more show before, so just remember. But if you subscribe to us on YouTube, then you won't have to worry about any of that because it does it all for you. It'll tell you when the show's coming, and so it's there. It's the miracles, the wonder of technology. So yes, talking of subscribing, please do, if you haven't already, for that very reason alone, just so that you get notifications of every show, and timely ones at that. If you are liking what you see, please do give us a thumbs up, whether it's during the live show, which apparently is very good if you do that, or of course if you're watching on catch up, like Get Jervis will be, because he was hanging around before show and then he had to run. He's gone off to work, so I hope will give us a thumbs up post show. But please do just let us know what you think, because otherwise we don't know if we're doing it well. So give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, give us a subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and share us around like your favourite drink or spliff or whatever it might be. Share it around and let everyone see what people get up to for 2 hours on a Friday evening or afternoon or morning, depending on where you may be. So yeah, please do all of that stuff. We are a community-funded YouTube channel. Everything that we earn from YouTube stickers and super chats or donations through a number of things I'm about to go through with you, all goes towards keeping this channel on air, and it's not cheap. For example, just to let you know, StreamYard, the service that we're currently using, is over $800 a year for us to use this facility. That's a lot of money, and it's you guys and girls and cats and dogs and everyone else that follows us. It's you people that keep us going, so we are eternally grateful. But you might be asking, how do I help? How do I get that warm fuzzy feeling that lets me know that I've supported a channel that entertains me for 2 hours a week, and occasionally other times? Well, you can do it in a number of ways. As I said, YouTube Super Chat and Super Stickers. If you're watching the show live, or if you're watching on Catch Up, you can do it on Catch Up as well. You can just donate an amount. YouTube take a little cut. That's how it works. But every penny helps. Every penny counts. It all goes into the kitty, and we pay for all the bills. So you can do that. That's one way of doing it. One of the better ways of doing it, that you get something and we get something, is through our merchandise store. Yes, we have a merchandise store. Here it is. And look, we got new stuff. What have we got? Can you tell? Can you see what it is yet? We've got the Keith in Watford ProSynth Network orange bandana. A proper bandana with the ProSynth Network logo on it, writ large across the middle. You don't have to be Keith in Watford to own one of these. Anybody can, and it's done in Keith's favourite colour of orange. It's my favourite colour too, to be honest. So there you go. You can buy the Keith in Watford ProSynth Network bandana. You can wear it on your head. You can wear it around your neck. You can drape it around your belt or put it around your dog. I don't know. Whatever you want to do with it, just buy one and do it. It's fantastic. There you go. We've also got the ProSynth Network soy wax candle. What does it smell of? Chronic disappointment and shame, or burnt capacitors. No, apparently it's a natural smell. That's all it says. It's a soy wax. It's not scented. It's just a natural candle smell. Inspired by Mr. Matt Evans, who took one of our desk mats and hung it on his back wall, I decided to do some posters. You can now buy a framed matte poster of the ProSynth Network logo. You can also buy just a rolled up poster done in red with the white logo on. That's there as well. So you can buy posters now to hang on your wall or adorn your workplace. And of course, talking of workplaces or at home, you can use the ProSynth Network coaster, which is a lovely cork-based coaster that won't slip when you place your drink upon it. And finally, we've got the ProSynth Network Justin Have You cartoon tank. Now, we've already had the Justin Have You tank tops with the logo on, but now we have a cartoon Justin Have You. And just in case you want to know what it looks like, here's what it looks like on Justin Have You. There it is. There's Justin wearing a Justin Have You tank top. Thank you very much indeed, Justin, for purchasing one of your own tank tops. We should have really given him one. Yeah, maybe we'll have to sort something out later on. But thank you, Justin. And that's what you could look that hot in a tank top, just like Justin does. There you go. For not very much money at all. And you can have it in a range of colours. So there you go. We've also got My Other Synth Is t-shirts. We've got the cushions. We've got the iPhone cases. We've got the tote bags. The lovely bomber jacket, which unfortunately they don't do in my size. But you can have all of those. Oh, and the leggings, or the jogging bottoms, should we say. Andrew and I both got ours finally delivered. There was a little bit of a delay. Yay. They're rather nice.
They're very nice. Yeah.
And you've got ProSynth Network down one leg and ProSynth Network down the other on the back. So whichever way you're walking, people know about the ProSynth Network. Anyway, you can buy all of this and more from the ProSynth Network merch store. And let me just put the link up on the screen. I'm sure somebody's put it in the chat already, but there is the link. You pay that. A lot of the goods are made in your local region. They do try and make sure that the stuff that you buy is made and delivered from as close to you as possible, therefore cutting down on shipping costs and duties and all that kind of stuff. But also, we are able to take a little slice of each sale, and that, of course, goes to keeping the channel running. So there you go. That is the ProSynth Network merchandise store. We also have, let me just bring this up here. This is the ProSynth Network Patreon page. The Patreon page where you can subscribe for a minimum of $2 every month. And you can join and unjoin as and when you see fit. If you are limited in your budget and you want to support us just for a few weeks, you can do that. You can make one-off donations as well. So if that's your bag, you can do that through here. What do you get if you join the ProSynth Network Patreon page? You get exclusive content that has been cut out from shows, ad-free, no subscriptions or anything required apart from one to the Patreon page, and you can get the things like our Synthspirations videos, as you can see there. We've also got things like we had 50% off. I don't know if that's still going. I need to check with those guys at Potato Audio, but they gave us a lovely 50% off discount there. More Synthspirations from our viewers. We've also got sounds and patches for various software and hardware synthesizers donated to us by amazing sound designers like Mark Barnes and James Dyson. It's all on there, and all you need to have is $2 a month, and you can get access to all of that wonderful stuff. You can also join us on YouTube as a YouTube member for the same amount of money, minimum $2. You get all the free stuff as well, and so whatever suits you is entirely up to you. They're all the ways that you can support us. You can also follow us on things like Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, and Threads, and TikTok with the tag @ProSynth Network. It's all the same across the board there. We are mostly active on Facebook, so if that's where you want to join us, please do. If you haven't joined us on Facebook, when you do join us, you are asked 3 questions, and you have to answer all 3 questions just to prove that you're not a bot. And then we'll let you in. It's as simple as that. Not very difficult at all. And I think that's everything. By the way, if you want to ask us a question during the show, please prefix it with a big capital Q. And that way we'll see your question and we'll put it into the question bucket and come over to it ASAP. Before we move on, we've had a couple of donations already. One from our very own Andrew Longhurst in celebration of episode 259. It is £2.59 in the kitty. And my good friend, the Lenin, has donated $1.99. Thank you very much indeed, sir. It is most appreciated. Every penny counts. That's fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. And there you go. That's all the stuff out of the way. He was late. He probably only remembered to join the show when you got the notification that the show had started. It's Mr. Kent Spong.
Oh.
Feeding his dogs with what? What are you eating? Chocolate.
Rice chocolate cream.
Okay.
It's her favourite.
Offer your finger to clean.
Yep, thank you. And that one as well.
Oh, no.
Thank you, love.
Other than that, how are you?
Well, yeah, all of it. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
There's a small altercation out the front.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, somebody decided it was a good idea to reverse into the back of my Chrysler.
Oh, jeez.
So, my damage was 0. There's
okay.
Not so much.
Not so much.
No. Chrysler 1. Lady who doesn't know what a rearview mirror is. Nil. So, yeah, all right, Nelly, you come and do it then.
If you need to go and get yourself a tissue, feel free.
Where have I heard that before?
Oh
yeah. No,
yeah,
right. I'm
behave,
sorry. Yeah, sorry,
behave.
It's not a pub, is it?
No, it's not.
No.
Anyway,
I do beg your pardon.
you're welcome. I'll let you and your dogs clean your hands.
Oh,
Which
that is
sounds
nice.
just terrible.
That's it.
But
Keep licking.
I'll leave that, and we'll cross over to Mr. Longhurst. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. How are
Have you got any
you?
dogs licking your fingers?
I've got no dogs licking my fingers. I do have an aardvark under the desk, and I'm not going to say what they're doing.
Okie dokie. How's your week been?
It's been an interesting week. You know, the beginning of this year, it was very quiet for an awful lot of people in our professions.
Yeah.
You know, the creative professions. It's suddenly gone mad, which is good. And you know, everyone here that listens knows that I'm doing this or trying to pull together this community-based thing. Mm-hmm. And I owe a couple of phone calls out to people, by the way. But there's been some movement on that, which is very positive. So good. I will fill everyone in once I have a bit more. Everything's signed and dotted. I'll tell everyone, but I'm extremely excited and very, very happy. I can do some more playing again, which is lovely.
Good stuff. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Let's just say a massive thank you to Steve, a.k.a. Homegrown. Thank you very much for your donation. Something for the Spong HDD Rehabilitation Fund. There you go. There it is. Is that the one that's dead?
I'll give you a clue.
Yeah. Oh, dear. It's been lilied.
It has been so lilied, it's ridiculous. However, I have purchased a 4 terabyte SSD.
Hey.
That's the size of...
you getting into the 21st century.
I know, but it arrived at 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, blimey.
And it had to be signed for.
Yes, it was at Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I only ordered it about just gone midnight.
I know.
The same. Quick, so literally, it took less than 7 hours to get here.
I know.
It's mad.
It is. Absolutely mad. Which one did you get, by the way?
Little black one.
Little crucial one, was it?
Yeah, it was a crucial one. That was it.
Yeah,
yes.
I've got a couple of those. They're pretty good. They're pretty fast as well.
Yeah, I just want something that's reliable and lily-proof. So it's because now I mounted it under the shelf behind the thingy.
They're much easier to tuck away, and if they fall, there's no mechanical bits to go wrong.
Exactly.
Which is always good.
But I'm still downloading my libraries since yesterday. Was it yesterday morning? I'm on M. I'm up to the M's.
Are you up to the M's? Okay, well, you're about halfway there.
Yeah, give or take, yeah.
Good stuff. Excellent. Right, well, it's a show. We've got some news. We don't have any special guests this week. We're keeping some of those back for later on in the year. But we do have a little bit of news. I'm not entirely sure where we should start because none of it is massively exciting, but all of it is not bad. I think maybe we should start with probably the biggest news of the week in terms of software synthesizers. Let's see if I can just find a wee little trailer for it.
A wee little trailer.
I don't think I've actually got one. No, they didn't. There is no wee little trailer because the company didn't do it. Oh. So anyway, this is the news that we have a brand new version of Serum, which is very highly regarded. In fact, it's one of the most highly regarded software synthesizers ever made, I think, because if you ask anyone, what is the best software synthesizer, this one generally comes up top of the list. The thing is, it hasn't been updated in like a decade or more. I think somebody said it's about 11 years since the last update, and now we're up to Serum 2 finally. The good news is that if you own Serum 1, as it's now unofficially known, this is a free update. You get lifetime free updates. So if you buy this, you'll never have to buy it again. It will always be a free update. However, if you didn't jump on the Serum bandwagon all those years ago, you have to pay for it. And at the moment, it's $189, which is an introductory price because it's normally $249 US. Available for Mac and Windows. If you're not sure about it and you want to try it, then you can do a demo for Mac and Windows, which is limited to 15 minutes. That'll give you hopefully enough time to suss it out. It comes as a VST3 audio unit and AAX plugin for Pro Tools, all 64-bit. Comes with over 626 presets, 288 wavetables supplied as standard. Requires Windows 10 or higher, High Sierra or later for Mac Intel, or Big Sur or later for Apple Silicon, which of course now it supports. It didn't do that before. So there's been some significant changes because it's been over a decade. But it is an incredibly powerful software synthesizer with multiple oscillator types, including wavetable, multi-sample, sample oscillators, granular oscillators, spectral oscillators. There's a lot going on. And I've got to put my hands up and say that I have never owned a copy of Serum. I've never played with Serum. I have no experience with Serum. And all I've got to go on is what lots of people tell me, how wonderful it is. I'm going to hazard a guess here that neither of you have it either.
I've got Serum.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've had it for donkeys.
So what do you think?
I like it.
Yeah?
I've
you
used
tried
it,
the new one yet?
I haven't tried the. I was not even aware.
Well, there you go.
Because I thought it was just going to like an old theme park. Nobody's going to bother doing it. People keep using it and it's there.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting to learn that there was activity. So I know excuse me, the first one was really good. So we'll have to have a demo of some description and have a crack at to see what the new one's like.
Yes, yeah. I'm not entirely sure if I want to spend a couple of £100 on a software synthesizer when I already own what I believe are two of the best software synthesizers, and that's Pigments and UVI Falcon. And I'm sure there'll be people in the comments that will tell me that Serum can do a whole lot more, but I'm yet to be convinced.
I'm surprised that there isn't a certain German company's one on that list of yours. Like, I don't know, those black and white horses. Now, what do they call them? Oh, no, I can't remember the name. Zebra, you Dylan.
Oh, that. No, I haven't got Zebra either.
Zebra is stunning.
Yes, well, so I hear.
Oh, no,
So
honestly,
I'm told.
seriously.
Yeah. But Serum seems to have a massive following. Wherever you go, if you ask about software synthesizers, Serum always comes up every time, whereas the others, often get mentioned. But Serum it seems to have this massive following. Andy, have you had ever played with it? Any idea about it? Have you tried the demo or anything?
I have. I tried it when it first came out, and I was impressed with it. I was impressed with it, and I was impressed with all the presets, but there were certain things that kind of didn't quite work well enough for me to want to have it. And it was a lot of getting around and playing around to actually get the sounds that I wanted. And honestly, I just went for the Zebra. I went for Zebra, and I've got Zebra 2. I've got the HZ pack as well. That's a bit crashy sometimes, the HZ version of it, but the dark version. But it's a stunning synth, and yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this, because there was a really good discussion earlier today on Tinterwebs about Zebra, and or Minimoogs. And there was a whole thing about how Zebra, some people were saying that Zebra is the best thing since sliced bread. Others were saying that it doesn't sit well in a track in a mix. If you can use a Minimoog and it will sit really comfortably, whereas the Zebra won't. And it's horses for courses, and you use Zebra for what it is. Serum, now that it's come out as version 2, and by the way, we talked about your Minimoog Kent a lot, and it was nothing's come close in software ever still. But the Serum 2, that seems to have addressed pretty much all of the shortcomings that I had, that I'd picked up with it. I think because I've got the Zebra 2 and the Zebra HZ, I'm not sure what it's bringing that I can't get from that. And as you know, as everyone here knows, I'm moving further and closer into hardware control again. So I'm not sure it'll get a lot of use, but it's a deeply impressive release. And if you already own it, it's free. So it's a free update, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch that, you might have bought Serum, a decade ago, and now they've finally brought out a new version of it, and you ain't got to pay for it, which is very nice. But they've also got a lot of catching up to do, because since the first Serum came out, yes, it's received periodical updates here and there, but we've had so much come out since that has really kind of, I guess they've relished the fact that Serum hasn't received major updates in over a decade. Like I said, you've got Pigment 6, which is an incredible instrument. You've got UVI's Falcon, which is, again, an incredible instrument. Forget any of the sound libraries that you can buy to use in it. Its own built-in synthesis is fantastic. You've got granular, you've got wavetables, you've got FM, you've got physical modeling, you've got virtual analog, you've got all of this stuff in this one package. Yes, it's a little more expensive than Serum 2, and I guess it's horses for courses. But they've got a lot of catching up to do in terms of where everyone else is at right now. But early reports seem to be very favourable. I will wait and see. I don't know whether I'll want to spend another couple of £100 on a piece of software that I probably won't use that much. But
Someone in the chat, I'll put it up actually. Here we go.
Yes.
Every hardware synth video. Serum 2 can do the same.
That has often been the case, hasn't it? Oh, I can do that in Serum, easy.
That has, but we'll come to this later on as well. But there is, once you start playing around with hardware again, there is something about certain hardware synths. I will never ever get rid of my Novation Supernova because it's got a sound. I know it's virtual analog. I know all the stuff that the effects issue. It's brilliant. I know my way around it, and it does everything that I want and some. And that's the same thing applies with the Minimoog and the expensive Rhodes. All of these things are unique instruments for the people that use them that way. Yeah. So, yeah, it's an interesting. We're living in an interesting time. We see as everything goes from software to hardware and back. It's interesting.
Yeah, why not both? I mean,
yeah.
I look at Serum, I look at the specs, I hear what people are doing with it, and it does sound amazing. And you've got so much you can go, really get into it. And I'd love to have a go, not just a 15-minute demo. I'd love to have a proper go with it. So maybe it's something I'll invest in at some point. But right now, I think that I've seen people in the chat saying, "Oh, I've got Pigments and Zebra. I've got Zebra and this," and so. And I think when it comes to, I always said that UVI's Falcon, if somebody said you can have one plugin and one plugin alone, it would always be Falcon for me, because it does everything. And it does it for me in a way that works very well. It has a very Akai-based structure, especially when it comes to sampling and building programs and multis and all that kind of thing. So it kind of harks back to my old brain from decades ago. That's why I probably love it. Whereas, I love the way that Pigments is very graphical based. It's easy to look at Pigments and see exactly what's going on visually, rather than Serum seems to be catching up with that, but I don't think it's quite there. But I'm sure existing Serum users will absolutely love it, and I'm sure it will gain a brand new following so many years later on.
Yeah, it's a great plugin.
But yeah, and as Steve Elbow says in the chat, Falcon and Serum meet his MP, and they are stringent MPE requirements, might I tell you. Zebra went until Zebra 3, which, is hopefully going to be fairly soon. I don't know whether we'll see it at Superbooth, but they always have a big tent.
Am I right in thinking that Zebra 3 won't be able to read Zebra 2 presets?
That I don't know.
I think I saw that somewhere in one of the chats.
Yeah.
Because it's a completely new engine, isn't it?
I think so, yeah, but I honestly don't know.
Or a new instrument.
Yeah.
Just happens to have the same name.
Indeed. So there you go. That is Transfer. Is it Transfer Records or Xfer? I don't know what you call it. It's a weird name for a software company, something records. But anyway, Xfer Records, transferrecords.com. Serum is available now. It's $189 intro price until June 1st, after which it'll be $249. And you buy it once, you have it for life. You get free lifetime upgrades. So I guess we'll probably see Serum 3 in 2037, around that time. By which time, none of us will be making music anymore because it'll all be AI. Oh, there we go. Anyway, and there's, you can also buy Serum preset packs within there as well. So I think there's probably some stuff for the new one in there. And I believe it supports all the old stuff as well. So there you go. Go and check the website out for more information on Serum 2, which is available right now. Okay, let's move on to something where we do have a little video trailer for. Let's do this one. We'll have a bit of a theme for the next two topics, but we're going to start with this one because it supports an organisation we hold very dear to our hearts, and that is, of course, the Bob Moog Foundation.
So a while ago, I spent quite a lot of time sampling the most famous preset from the Polymoog 280A, which is Vox Humana, as made famous by Gary Newman. I gave those samples to the Bob Moog Foundation, and they have now collaborated with UJam to create a bespoke plugin and user interface with programmable controls, effects, and presets. Let's take a look.
And you get the idea. You want to watch the rest of that video. It's a very short video, but it's on Alex Ball's YouTube channel, probably on the BMF one as well. But this is the news that Alex, who recently had some Polymoogs in the studio to do some of his amazing videos for, took the samples from those machines, sent them over to the BMF. The BMF got in touch with UJam. They came up with a plugin that just does Vox Humana. And of course, Vox Humana is one of those sounds that is completely and utterly forever attached to one man and one man only, and that is, of course, Lord
Tomato.
Gary of Newman. It is just this... It's one of those sounds that wherever you hear it, you instantly recognize it. It's instantly emotive and lovely. And of course, you always think of Gary Newman. And for 18 quid, you can now buy this plugin, which does just Vox Humana, which, of course, a lot of people, that's the only reason they want a Polymoog. So it just does Vox Humana, but it does it in lots of different ways. As you saw there in Alex's video, it has effects built in. So you've got chorus, phaser, reverb. There are 4 different versions of the Vox Humana sound. There's the original one. There's one with a brighter EQ on it. There's one with an octave on it. And, of course, there's a slightly hollow version. You've got a limited envelope on there as well. And a bunch of presets to play around with. And it costs just 18 of your British pounds. It will automatically convert to your local currency when you go and visit the website at ujam.com. But, of course, this is more than just having a plugin with a particular sound on it. This is about having a plugin that also helps the Bob Moog Foundation, which, of course, now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I know I saw Craig, the wonderful Craig Frustashi, in the chat. Craig will confirm this either way, I'm sure, but I believe 100% of money raised by the sale of this plugin goes to the Bob Moog Foundation. So if you spend 18 quid, they get 18 quid, which I think is very good, because you are supporting a remarkable foundation that does remarkable work. It is a beautiful sound. I love it. I'm a huge Newman fan. I love this sound. And even though I've got this sample and these sounds, I will be buying this because it supports the BMF. Thank you, Craig, for confirming. Yes, that is 100% correct. They get every single penny, so nobody else takes any of this. Alex Ball donated these free of charge. UJam have made the plugin free of charge, and
Very cool.
The BMF get everything. Kent of Spong.
Yes, my darlings.
I know that you've had many of these through your hands over the years, and you love and hate them probably in equal measure. But this is a
No,
nice
I
little
don't.
thing.
I don't hate the Polymoog keyboard.
Okay, but you hate the synthesizer
Listen,
because they are distinctly different, as we've
funny
established
enough.
many times.
Well, funnily enough, the Polymoog keyboard does not fall over anywhere near as much as the synth did, or does. But I was always surprised about the amount of people that would buy these the Polymoog synthesizer and bring it to me saying, "I can't find Vox Humana on it." I go,
Yeah.
"Well,
'Cause it's not
you
on there.
won't. You have to put that in
Yes.
with these little sticky things on the front. Yep, you have to make Vox Humana,
Yeah.
or for a price, I will make you a preset board that plays Vox Humana and put it in its place. Like if you want to, do you want to lose, like piano? Let's face it, it doesn't
Yes.
sound like a fucking piano. So do you want it in piano, or do you want it in this, that, or whatever, or clav? I mean clav,
Yeah.
and that was they go, oh yeah, please. So, but it's just one of those weirdy things where that sound just it caught on. Because this is all down to Newman
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
his band. It's otherwise it would have disappeared
Yeah.
down the bog years ago.
It's
Nobody
just
would
one of those.
never know.
No, it's one of those beautiful kind of moments, isn't it? It's a serendipity where an artist finds a sound and uses it in a way that nobody probably thought that it should be used, but it was perfect. It's like Vangelis with some of the sounds on the CS80. You hear those sounds outside of a Vangelis track, and it just feels wrong. Because it feels like you're ripping off Vangelis. Anybody uses
Tell
his
me
Vox
about it.
Humana sound outside of a Newman cover band, and people are going, "Oh, that's Gary Newman's sound, isn't it?"
Yeah.
It's so inextricably linked to that one artist.
And yet, the weirdest thing about that is out of all the people that used the Polymoog keyboards, it's a preset. Any
Yeah.
band could have just gone, let's use this sound.
I know.
You know?
Bonkers.
But because they did, and the record, let's face it, did incredibly well,
Yes.
just happened at the right time, and it come out
Yeah.
and slapped everybody in the face,
That's
and
it.
that was it, sorted.
Yeah. No,
Ultravox used it, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, other people have used
Oh yeah,
it.
loads
but
of other
it's-
people, but he'd already done it, so, and it was
Yeah.
all like,
Yeah.
tough, mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he didn't have to even lay claim to it. It's just one of those things that in the social consciousness of that time, it was just that's the Newman sound.
Yeah.
Like the Edge in U2 has his guitar sound. Anybody tries to do the Edge's guitar sound, and they just say, "Well, you're ripping off
Go,
the
no,
Edge."
you too. You know, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Well, the interesting thing about it was the sound itself is almost like it's sort of like if somebody was trying to get a string synth sound and then gave up. Weirdly,
Yeah.
and but that I think that sound was particularly strong because not only did it actually suit the music that it was used in, in its entirety, but it's one of those sounds where it wasn't a string synth doing, because if you wanted to hold a long, dreamy kind of note, it will be a string synth up until then. Nobody's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
sort of like experimenting too far. So so it made an impact as well.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the Vox Humana sound, Andrew?
I am. I am, as it happens, and you could actually use the presetty bit. You could do some playing around with it, and certainly with this plugin you can, and you can take it in all sorts of other slightly different directions. But Newman was a genius just for using it, and it's one of those things. Everyone was using presets at the time he got there first. There was a very sweet interview with him. Again, I saw earlier this week, where for years he's kind of gone, I'm not playing cards. Everyone always asks about cards, and apparently he was appearing with Nine Inch Nails, and they said, we're going to play. So, don't play it. And he said, apparently the guy from Nine Inch Nails said, what do you mean? It's brilliant. It started everything that we are. It's genius. Do you not? And he was so humble. He still is so humble.
Yes.
He didn't realise just how influential it was. So yeah, I really like the sound. I also like the poly synth, even though they fall apart. But that sound, that's a plug-in. I'm going to be buying one, if for no other reason than to support the BMF. And what great work he's done on this, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's just one of the, and as you say, Newman is incredibly sort of humble about it all. And he does all those things. I remember seeing interviews with him. He said, nostalgia and 40 years on. And he did the Replicas 40th, I think it was the 40th anniversary of Replicas. It might have been the 30th. Yeah, actually, it was probably the 30th. And I remember going to see that show. And whilst the songs, he still does the songs. He does them, I wouldn't say in a modern style, but he does them in a sort of the current style of Newman, which is still very electronic, but still a lot more sort of rocky than the original was, and it's still magnificent. I mean, and that's just a testament to a great song by a great writer who's still knocking out great albums to this day. And Newman is playing Glastonbury this year, which I think is,
that's
we've all been asking for it. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. Is he still doing Down in the Park?
Yes.
That is my favourite track.
It is. It's mine too.
That's my track. I love that track.
I love that. I did a cover of that. In fact, if you are that way inclined, if you look at the Failed Muso YouTube channel many years ago, I did my take on Down in the Park, which is more like his modern take on it. But I mean, Down in the Park. The whole Replicas album for me was just a massive game changer.
Funny thing is, I didn't really like it that much. Or rather, I liked it, but it was a secret. Like, I didn't want to tell anyone I did like it, because everyone did, and I didn't want to be down with the cool kids. And I was still busily into prog rock and all that stuff,
It was the same for me with Adam and the Ants.
Yeah, same. Well,
similar kind of thing.
I was quite blatantly open about Adam and the Ants, and took a huge amount of stick for it, because I did the whole thing. I wore the makeup, I had the stuff in my hair, and the fake tattoo things. I did the whole lot.
There's the fifth birthday show right there, Robbie.
I wish there were photos, but then I've got no. I mean, we're talking 1980, and no, there was. We just didn't
some
have.
ex-girlfriend's got photographs of me with the hair all down
Phil
one
Oakey
side.
hair.
Did the whole Phil Oakey thing for quite a while.
Yeah. I've got a whole bunch of stuff like before then, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff after then, but I've got nothing around that time when I was wearing all the the stuff. I was going out playing with my mates, but I still had a white stripe across my nose. It was bonkers. My mum loved it because she was able to make because she was what do you call it? She used to do crochet and seams, dressmaking and all this kind of stuff. So she loved doing that, because she would make me the bandanas and the sashes and all the other bits, and she'd give me all the black ribbon to do the stuff in my hair and mental. But
bits of cloth on the trousers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, with the skull and crossbones on. And, crazy days.
And I love what he's been doing in the last the last 15 years, and recently the last 5 years or so. He's doing some amazing music. I'd love to go and see him again.
I think there's a new album in the works right now anyway, so that'll be good. It must be, because if he's finally got the Glastonbury gig, they generally have something to promote, so hopefully there'll be something there. But yeah, he's still doing amazing stuff. But I did want to ask, and people in the chat, please feel free to contribute to this one. Gary Newman is inextricably linked with Vox Humana. Vangelis is inextricably linked with I don't know, guitar 1 and 2, or brass 1 and 2, whatever.
Brass
on
1
the
and
CS80.
2 for sure, yeah.
For sure, yeah. What other sounds from a synthesizer, preferably presets maybe, are so linked with an artist that whenever you hear them, it's just that sound?
It depends where you're standing. I mean, personally, for me, now knowing and having played it on the keyboard he owned, it's got to be that polysynth sound on the GS1.
Oh,
for
yes.
Africa.
For Africa, yeah.
Playing it on Baccaro's GS1.
Mm-hmm.
And not realising it until after I played it.
Yeah.
Enya and the pizzicato sound from the D50.
What was that patch called? Is it Pizzigogo? Pizzigogo.
Yes, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the D50 Pizzigogo.
Was that in Bank
like
2 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. It wasn't in the first bank. But I mean, the thing is with the D50. I mean, you could say Jean-Michel Jarre did. I forget which album it was. That was pretty much a D50 demo record. Prince, Love Sexy album, is almost entirely D50. Steve Ixorb says DX7 E-Bass, Howard Jones, What Is Love? But the thing is, you could say that about...
oh, Christ, yeah. The list would go on.
The list would go on and on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say to me DX7 bass, the first thing I think of is Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was
or Harold Faltermeyer.
Harold Faltermeyer, yeah, exactly. The kalimba thing, yeah.
And then there's the brass sound for used by Jump.
Oh yeah, the OB8.
Yeah.
8, or was it the OB8X?
It's the OBX, wasn't it?
OB8. I can't remember what it was. It was an Oberheim anyway.
No.
Yeah, you could say that.
OBXA.
Sure.
OBXA. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Tony
his
Banks,
mush?
Art Pro Solos.
Oh, what's his mush? Oh God, with the chroma. Is it wet?
Wet.
Or is it the other? Or is the band always a confused?
Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull's keyboard player didn't use it a lot.
Faithless, Faithless in the JV 1080 pizzicato strings.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Lately bass. Thing is, so many people use lately bass from the TX81Z.
Oh yeah, but I mean it's the same. She said, call game one piano. Oh, hang on.
Again,
yeah, let's run that list off.
Here's one that so many people used, and yet you will probably only associate it with one act, and that was Syrah on the Fairlight. For me, it's Art of Noise all day long, simply because of Moments in Love. However, so many other people used it. Thomas Dolby used it on Screen Kiss beautifully. But it's, for me, Syrah is Art of Noise.
In which case, it's got to be Shakuhachi.
Or Shakuhachi, for Peter Gabriel.
RMI? RMI synthesizer?
Yeah, Jean-Michel
all day.
Jarre,
Yeah.
And or Wakeman.
Yeah. Oh, and again, Tears for Fears, with the Fairlight stuff for sure. I mean, it's I was just trying to think of, instruments that you like. Vox Humana. Nobody would disagree that, if you say Vox Humana, the first artist you think of is Gary Newman. If you say CS80, the first artist you always think of is.
Well, if I had £1 for every time I had somebody come to the door here, saying they want the Vox Humana sorted out, they want their Minimoog sorted. The reason I bought it is because I was well into Gary Newman. It's always to that song and that artist. Every time. Yeah. Even though Tangerine Dream used the Minimoog extensively.
Mellotron.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I've been looking for this video for ages. There's a band called Band of Horses, and if you've never heard of Band of Horses, please go and check them out, especially their album Infinite Arms, which is just a masterpiece. And the opening track on Infinite Arms is called Factory, and it uses one of these sort of digital mellotrons, but it uses it just perfectly. And now whenever I hear a mellotron, it's actually supplanted Strawberry Fields as every time I hear those kind of strings on a mellotron, well, I should be thinking of Genesis, and Watcher in the Skies, But Beatles, yeah. But
Yeah.
Moody Blues.
Moody
Moody
Blues.
Blues, yeah, absolutely.
But what
But-
pops up in your head?
Band of Horses.
Band of Horses. Yeah.
'Cause
It's
it's
down to
just-
the individual, isn't it? As
Yeah.
well.
I always try.
It's just that there's more individuals than there are other individuals.
Yeah. And of course we could. Yeah, I
Excellent.
mean, I was just about to say, Nick. Thank you very much. Just about to say, Lindrum can be associated.
Yeah.
With the CR78 can be.
Except it
but
wasn't a CR78. Sorry about that.
On what?
It was a
on Phil Collins?
CR68.
On the Phil Collins.
Yes, it's not a CR78.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, there you
So,
go.
but there's a load of associations, interestingly,
Well, 'cause it
like
looks
that, where
very
the
similar,
instrument
doesn't it?
isn't the actual instrument that was
Isn't the
actually
one
used.
that's-
Got it?
Yeah.
But they do. I mean, they sound exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I learnt that much later
Mm.
when I was, because I was going around saying, "Oh yeah, the CR78 on Phil Collins and everything like that," and got this slap round the face.
Isn't it
No,
funny,
it was a
though?
68.
Isn't it funny where? Thank you very much. That's a good one. Good think of that one.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Bontempi chord organ.
Yeah.
That was Space Oddity as well.
Yeah. And omnichord, people could say gorillas.
Mm-hmm.
But I was about to say, isn't it funny that all of these people, that all these songs, or these artists, these instruments that we've said unmistakable, you hear that sound, you think of them.
Yeah.
None of that is in the last 20, 30 years. It's all.
Yeah.
Is that because we've got instruments that kind of you can't really say-
Faithless. Pizzicato.
Yeah, but again,
Faithless.
90s. That's 90s,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's 30
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
Yeah, but you can go out now and have a machine that is capable of doing so many sounds.
Yeah.
And can quite, faithfully recreate quite a few.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the hell they're playing.
How many times have you heard anybody say, I want that, and I'm not picking out these guys for any particular reason, it's just that they're obviously quite in my face. Nobody goes, I need that synth because that's what they use, and it's an Arturia synth. They make brilliant synthesizers, but they do such a broad range of stuff that nobody actually associates. I'm sure they're on countless hit records.
Well, we used to have a thing called Top of the Pops, it used to be on. And the idea was that they would play the instruments that they used within reason,
Except they never did.
except they never did.
I
And if
was
they
in
did,
those sessions.
Yeah, but if they did, Tiny would get the phone call saying,
Yeah.
we need a referee Fairlight or something like this or whatever.
The only
So it'd be on
people that
stage.
I mean, most of the time, especially sort of like from the early mid '80s onwards, I'm sure that there was just a couple of DX7s and D50s out in the cupboard at Top of the Pops, and they would just wheel those out for anybody that didn't have their own stuff. The Pet Shop Boys, I had every time they appeared on Top of the Pops, they brought, whether it was used on the record or not, and I'm thinking particularly of when they did Hello Space Boy with David Bowie, Chris is stood there playing chords on a Korg Prophecy. Of course, that's impossible.
Oh, yeah. Well, that used to happen all the time, didn't it?
But when they were at their pomp, every time they were on Top of the Pops, there was a Fairlight, there was a PPG Wave, there was an Emulator 2, there was big Oberheims. They brought the gear. It was part of their thing that they always brought their stuff in or hired it in. Because I think actually any Series 3 you see on Top of the Pops repeat was supplied by Peter Wilk, who is the guy that I deal with when I do my Fairlight restorations.
Yeah.
He had a place in Islington that used to supply that stuff. The one you see in Soul to Soul, because there's a Series 3 in the first couple of Soul to Soul videos, and that's all there's. But I was just thinking it's interesting. What sounds, what instruments can be just absolutely pinpointed to one artist. I was just looking around here and thinking, well, most of the stuff that I've got here was probably used by a lot of people on a lot of things. Nothing, especially even things like the DX7.
Yeah.
But nowadays you don't hear it. Nobody goes, I absolutely need that Polybrute because it was on that massive hit record, or I need that synth that was made 10 years ago because it was on that hit record.
But a lot of people bought Moogs, Minimoogs, because Wakeman and Emerson
Yes.
were playing them.
Yeah.
It was that thing. There was that sound that each of them had, and they were able to deal with it. But there was a sound that it had that sold gazillions.
Yeah.
Gazillions,
Well, it's funny that you should say that.
isn't it?
It is. It is funny because there's been a new Minimoog Model D released, but it's a very special Minimoog Model D. In fact, let's have a quick look.
When I look back on the history of me playing a Minimoog, I think of those earliest days. I think of dry ice clouds floating onto the stage, and I'm standing there with just a set of Taurus pedals and a Model D in front of me, and we're about to break into the meat of Xanadu. Using one of these.
I'm going to stop it there because I'm increasingly conscious of getting copyright strikes. We got one last week on something, and I apologise. Actually, I should mention this. If you're going to last week's show to try and catch up, and it was a really good show, unfortunately, we had to lose some of the audio. Well, this is the thing, and I want to point this out. If there's anybody else that does YouTube videos here that might fall foul of this, I received a copyright claim about 24, 36 hours after the show, and it picked out a particular trailer that we played for a particular manufacturer and their new piece of gear. And what it normally is, it's not the manufacturer, it's the person, the publishing company behind the music that they used in the trailer. And so I just said, okay, look, all right. So I filled out the stock reply and said, fair use, news reporting, blah blah blah. And that 99.9% of the time gets them off our backs, and they say, oh fine, you were just reporting it and it was only on for 30 seconds or whatever. This lot doubled down, and so I was left with two choices. I could either contest the dispute that had been rejected, and if I lost that, we would actually get as a channel an official copyright strike, so it would be 1 out of 3. Didn't want to do that. The other option was I just either edited the audio out or edited the section of the video, and I just thought, oh, I'll just mute the audio, let YouTube do that. And unfortunately what it does is it kills the live chat replay. So I'm really sorry if you've gone back to that and go, where's the chat replay? It's gone. I'm sorry, but it was only afterwards that I realized that it was a chancer. I don't know whether it's probably bot related, it's probably AI related. The person or the company making the claim, when I clicked on the link to hear the piece of music that was allegedly being infringed, it wasn't the piece of music in the video. By which time I'd already snipped it out. They were trying it on and they succeeded because I was.
There's a lot of that going around, isn't there? Buckets.
So yeah, they claimed ownership of this piece of music, and it wasn't their music. And all I should have done was just replied and said, "This isn't your music," and YouTube would have upheld it. So lesson learned. So I am becoming increasingly conscious of, just playing only short snippets of this and that and the other, in the hope that I don't get me wrist slapped any further. But anyway, that's by the by. What you were seeing there was the great, the marvelous, the fantastic Geddy Lee
Yay!
Of Rush. Do I say formally of Rush? Because after Neil passed away, I don't think Rush exist anymore. I think they just basically said, well, if it isn't the three of us, it isn't anything. But anyway, Geddy Lee, legend, an absolute legend of prog rock, and of course bass playing and singing and playing synthesizers of huge sizes, including the big Oberheims, as you see there, that massive thing with a Minimoog built in, because this was his kind of monster machine, wasn't it? It was an 8-voice with a Minimoog built into it. You can just see it there at the bottom of the frame. It's an amazing contraption that he has there. But what they have done is they have released a Geddy Lee version of the Minimoog Model D. So as far as I'm aware, this is the same as the 2022 reissue, but with a few extra little bits and bobs. First of all, that gorgeous kind of cherry red finish, which
that's lovely.
Yeah. Specifically picked out by Geddy himself. It's also got things like I don't know if we can see it on the picture there. Let me just zoom in. I don't know if I can do it because Moog's website is incredibly annoying because it goes left to right instead of up and down. You've got the Rush logo emblazoned on the left-hand side there. It's also on the back of the synth. They've also tweaked the internals ever so slightly as well. But it's a gorgeous-looking thing. But it does sell for £5,500. So it's a few £100 more than a regular 2022 Model D reissue. But it's this Geddy Lee thing, and everyone I believe comes with a certificate, as you can see here, signed by Geddy himself. There's a Geddy Lee poster, and there's also an EP featuring Xanadu on one side, and I forget what's on the other, but it's basically 2 Rush tracks and pressed in red vinyl. You got the exclusive manual as well. Let's just see if we can get some close-ups of. There you go. There's the logo, the Starman logo that's on there. I mean, it's a gorgeous thing of beauty. It's a Minimoog Model D. What can you say? It's a lovely, lovely thing. But yeah,
you said they'd made some changes to the internal electronics. Do you know what?
Yeah, they've. I'm just trying to find it because I wrote this article and it's now slipped my mind exactly what it is that they've done. Let me just go and find that, and I can tell you exactly what it is that they've changed on here. Here we go. Let me just bring this up here. Custom colors, logos. The VCA has been hot rodded, should I say, Moog's description, not mine, to deliver an enhanced, smoother and richer sound. There's also aftertouch and a dedicated LFO along with MIDI integration, which I believe is on the regular Model D anyway. But I mean, yeah, who wouldn't want one of those? Really, it's very nice. But yeah,
it is a lovely thing.
€5,600, which is compared to €5,200 for the regular version. So you pay a little extra for that Geddy Lee signature, but it's a lovely, lovely thing. Kent, what do you reckon to this? I mean, you know these things inside out.
Mm-hmm.
Is this worth it?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine as is. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, yeah. Ideal world. You want a 1971, maybe a 1971, 1972 RA.
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking now at in excess of 12K now for one.
Exactly.
Of them. Yeah. And they do sound different.
Thanks,
but then they kept changing it, and they did always keep changing sound. So at the end of the day, it didn't really matter too much. But yeah, I mean these later ones, it's amazing to think that a synthesizer that was designed that long ago still has a relevance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because so many others have fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
I mean that you could buy in a shop.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. It's one of the only machines I think that's really done it.
Yeah. I mean the fact that you can buy a Minimoog, a brand new Minimoog, still built today, in a retailer, albeit for $5,000.
But that's kind of comparative to the cost when it first came out, wasn't it? Isn't it? It's not. Yeah. It's very comparative. In fact, I think it's probably slightly cheaper. I think the only thing about this one that I don't particularly like, which I think Kent may go along with, is it looks to me like the finish is lacquered, so you're not seeing any of the wood grain. And I kind of, that's the one thing I really love about the Moogs, is that wood grain, is being able to see that. I mean, I may have that wrong. It's a lovely looking thing, but I really want to pick out that.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of red lacquer.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, rather than a red stain.
Apparently, the reason for that was that the reason they chose this colour was that they wanted to honour a particular era of Rush around the Grace Under Pressure album, because Geddy Lee was apparently famous for having all of his stuff custom coloured to suit the imagery of the album that they were promoting, or the tour at the time. So apparently he chose that shade of red back then because it was the shade of red that was used on kind of classic American automobiles. And so that's why and he's gone for that. But as you say, I mean, if we look at the close up of that, it's definitely
it is a painted wood case. But there again, the fact that everybody and his wife knows what Minimoog looks like really doesn't really hurt it so much.
No,
I still love it though.
Yeah, but like I say, it refers to a particular era in their musical history. Because I can remember seeing that red Mini Geddy knocking about.
Do we know if Moog Music, who already support BMF fairly readily, do we know if any of the sale of this, any percentage of this is going to the BMF? Or I've no
reference
idea.
was made in the press release, so I imagine not.
Okay, but they are doing a lot to support
yes,
the
they
BMF.
do support the BMF.
Well,
So
who knows since the whole in music thing anyway. So.
Well, no, I mean, in music have openly said, and publicly and privately, that they fully support the BMF. And I know from having spoken to Michelle that relationship has gotten so much better than it used to be many years ago. So that's always good. So
after some personnel changes,
yes, indeed.
Which is good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good they're
Mention no
talking again.
names.
Yeah.
That is a lovely looking thing though.
George says wrong info. Geddy had the synths painted red to match Neil's drum kit. Well, I'm only going off what Geddy Lee said to Moog Music in the press release, and he said in the press release that it was to do with the classic automobiles in that particular era. So, if you want to tell Geddy Lee he's wrong, be my guest. So
This is how myths come about.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
So what can you say? Anyway, let's move on. So that's the Geddy Lee Minimoog, available now for €5,599 or whatever it is in your currency around the world. Available now in, I believe, limited numbers, and everyone will come with a signed certificate of authenticity, etc., etc. And I was wondering, of course, you mentioned the BMF, of course, the Bob Moog Foundation raffled a Geddy Lee autographed Minimoog, and I wonder if maybe that's how the connection came about. Interesting. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see what have we got next up in there. We've done.
I wonder if it did as well as the Peter Gabriel one.
I don't know. I wonder how. I don't remember seeing any statement from the BMF about how well I know that it did very well, the Matrix 12, but whether that was better subscribed than any of the others, I would have thought.
It seemed to go by really quickly, that one.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But the Moog one seemed to drag on forever.
The Moog one was the second best subscribed they've ever had. So it would be going some. It would be going some.
Bloody wonderful restoration I've done on that.
Yeah, I want it back.
Simon asked, did anyone here win the Matrix 12? Well, it's funny because when they made the announcement as to who won the Matrix 12, it was billed as Ben S. And I thought, no way. No.
No, not him.
Underneath it said Seattle, Washington. So I think, no. Unless he's moved from Warrington, or unless there is a part of Warrington, WA, that is called Seattle. No. So I don't believe. Unless, of course, Ben S. from Seattle, Washington, watches the show, then yes, he does. But other than that, no. So let's move on. Let's do this. Let's go for some orchestral stuff. Let's whet your appetite first of all with this particular orchestral library that has come out from a company that I don't know what the story is behind their name, but it kind of irks me that you wouldn't want to call your company Wrong Tools. But anyway, Wrong Tools have brought out this.
Wrong Tools presents Jasmine, a cinematic string contact library, an emotive palette with the enchanting sounds of 12 violin players interacting with each other, recorded in a hall with mind-blowing acoustics.
And there you go. That's Jasmine from Wrong Tools. And what is Jasmine? As they said in the trailer there, it's 12 violins captured. I believe they're based in Norway. I'm going to say that before I check my details. But they've captured these strings. And it's not your typical string library. It's not your typical violin library. They've definitely gone for a very cinematic thing with the whole collection. It's an interesting collection. I was playing with this the other day and was kind of struggling a little bit to get something that I liked, but it's different. I will give it that. They've done a whole bunch of these, and this is the latest one using the violins. I don't know what you thought about the trailer there, but we'll go to our resident orchestral library expert, who's currently reloading all of his expert libraries because of a dog-related hard drive incident. Have you had a chance to listen to this, or
No. I mean,
from
we're
that
still
demo?
loading.
Did you gain anything? From that?
I know precisely where they're coming from with this. This is not what you use to do music, right? What you got to understand is, film composers, TV and stuff like that, adverts, whatever. It's pretty much done, and what the composers are looking for now is stuff that's a little off the path, done a little differently. So it gives them a palette of sounds that they don't possess.
Yes.
Right. So you get these libraries come out every now and again, and you listen to them, and you go, what the hell am I going to do with this? It's not music. It's not like, let's play some, C minor chords and it'll sound gorgeous. That's not what it's for. So I can see why this thing exists, and I would imagine again it'll work on Contact Full, won't work on Player.
Yes, it is.
And
exactly.
Yeah, which is what they do as a sort of like. How would you call it? A signal that the uninitiated wouldn't recognise, which means it's for pro people. That's what it means. If it's in full contact but not player, it means it's not for you peasants, mate. There's the door. And that's what it's for. It's for the guys who are looking for, stuff that's off the beaten track now. Yeah, because they've got their huge lot. Yeah.
It did seem very kind of experimental in its nature, and I needed to spend more time with it to sort of understand the mic positionings and the different key switching options that you had there. You get 62 patches with over 2,500 samples, all captured from 12 violinists playing together at the same time. The library also includes affected mutations created for more contemporary settings and cinematic textures. It's a fully featured Contact library that does require the full version of Contact. It takes up about 6 gig of space on your drive.
Now, because I'm Montevani's birth child, I won't be buying this because I don't need to. The black and white films where the guy's eating a bovril sandwich and stabbing a horse with a feather, kind of thing. and the woman's in the corner crying with a clown's hat on.
Some weird French
it's for those sort of film
on.
scores. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. And for some reason, there's a bloke pulling his trousers down in the corner and screaming. Yeah. So I wouldn't do a score for a film like that anyway.
As Jason says, textures, not tunes.
Yeah, exactly. All that I said, he's put into 3 words.
Yeah, there you go.
So
yeah.
Thanks.
It does. It says here, random sample starts are optional. Simulated round robins. Lots of different mic positions. Recorded in a. They did actually have a picture of the space they recorded. I can't remember if it was on this web page. It's there. It's a lovely sort of building that they've recorded it in.
Vivaldi would have sounded nicer in there, to be honest. But there you go.
There you go. Indeed, Andrew. Any thoughts on this one?
Yes. No. Look, it's a good thing if, as everyone has noted, you're a composer and you're looking for something new and different. To my ears, it sounds like someone's visited St. Jeff's Academy for the marginally gifted music class, year 3, and they've all been told, the 12 instruments of the 12 violinists have been told to play and follow the conductor, and then they put blindfolds on them, face them the other way, and they said, right, starting with 1, and then they've all started doing whatever way they were doing in whatever key. It just sounds, it says 12 musicians playing together. It really doesn't sound like it. So having done that little rant, I couldn't use it for any of the stuff I do unless I was doing a movie or a TV series. And I kind of get it for that. But you know what? If I was doing that with the cost of it, I'd rather go and get some string players and say, do something unique for me. But I kind of understand. I understand it, but not for me. Not for me.
I mean, it said, to be fair to them, it says at the outset, this is a cinematic violin ensemble for contact, designed for film, game, and orchestral scoring. But the obviously film and game is where they're coming from. And when you when you listen to some of the modern video game soundtracks, and certainly modern movies, this sort of thing is very popular. It's very on trend, as the kids say. I don't know. Maybe
I think the word that's missing there is noir.
Okay, yeah.
Film noir would make a lot more sense.
Yeah. It says Jasmine's fluid organic live list makes it a super duper library for blending. I think a lot of what they say on their website is tongue in cheek, for blending in with your string arrangements and for making the top range shine, or just to add some spice. Steve Elbows pointed out there was in the frequently asked questions section. They said, "Why are you called Wrong Tools?" And I believe the answer. I'm trying to find the answer now. Where is it? It was quite cheeky.
Hang on, I've got to show this. Here we go.
Dissonant bunkum.
and actually, do you know what, Nick? I think probably the pretentious dissonant bunkum comes from me rather than these guys. They've done a good job with it. Yeah, they have. I mean, I ripped the mick out of it because it's an easy target, right? It has been really well recorded, but nothing that I heard there made me want to rush out and buy it. There's other string libraries that I could do something similar with myself. So,
these libraries are wanted. They are definitely wanted.
I'm sure they are,
but they are not for us mere mortals.
No,
Ty would be all over this. I'm sure.
Ty, Zimmer, they'd
probably got it already.
Yeah, probably. Now, I'd never heard of Wrong Tools before, and it's
because
not the name.
Perfect is boring was the answer.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I must admit, I do like their philosophy.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Indeed. But talking of orchestral library developers that I have never heard of, until last year, and I was laughed at till the middle of next week when I spoke to some people, and they said, "You've never heard of them?" Until this time last year, I had never heard of Orchestral Tools as a developer. Never heard of them until I got invited to one of their parties. And so I had to say, "Oh yes, I know your stuff." Don't really. But anyway, the thing that they're most famous for is their Berlin Orchestra. And now, you and I and everybody else, without the need for contact or any other costly support structure, can have a free version of their, what is quite frankly marvelous, Berlin Orchestra library. It is a complete contemporary orchestra. When I say complete, this is maybe a little bit more complete than other certain free libraries that are available at the moment. How complete? It's a complete symphony orchestra, so every instrument of the orchestra is covered. 20 solo instruments, 13 instrument ensembles, 67 articulations, 4 expressive legato soloists, round robins, multiple dynamic layers on both the strings and the brass, a full range of standard orchestral instruments, including pitched and unpitched percussion, 1 professionally mixed mic mix, 6.5 gig of samples uncompressed, 3 gigs when they're installed. All instruments taken from the Berlin series. Let's have a little listen and a look at what this is all about.
Introducing Berlin Free Orchestra. It's a sampled orchestra, and as the name suggests, it's free. It's for film music, trailer music, video game music, pop music, classical music, any kind of music at all, but most importantly, your music. It gives you strings, woodwinds, brass, and percussion. You get ensembles, and you get solo instruments. Many instruments have multiple dynamics and round robins, so they respond to your playing and sound more lifelike. You even get special legato instruments for playing melodies smoothly. Everything was carefully recorded in the same room, Teldex Studios in Berlin, for a perfectly consistent and balanced sound. And best of all the samples are taken from the Berlin series, Orchestral Tool's flagship collections used by AAA composers around the world. So you have the exact same sounds they have for free. Whether you have your sights on Hollywood or not, there are a million places your music can take you, but they all have one starting point: Berlin Free Orchestra. Start your journey today.
And just so you know, all the music you heard there was played from the Berlin Free Library. So it sounds pretty impressive. Just to give you an idea, Berlin Orchestra Max is $2,500. And all of these instruments are pulled from that collection there. So if you do the comparison here, Berlin Max gives you 21 different collections, 214 instruments, and many different articulations and so on and so forth. But this is, I mean, Kent and I spoke about this the other day, and as Kent rightly said, this is going to be a little carrot that they're going to dangle in front of people. Those that are maybe wanting to dip their toes into the water will use this as a brilliant, piece of like a demo version, an unlimited demo version. And should they like what they hear and what they're playing, they will go out and maybe buy one of the bigger libraries. The rest of us mere mortals who don't have $2,500 to spend on an orchestral library probably won't. But at least we're getting what is a stupendously generous package for absolutely nothing. And as I said, you don't need anything like Contact or anything like that. All of this works in their own player, which is free to download. It's called Signs, S-I-N-E-S. You download Signs, and then you just go into your account on Orchestral Tools and just select this. It downloads pretty quickly for something that's 6 gig, and there you go. You're up and away. And there's also lots of other free content from Orchestral Tools. If you open up Signs, I think I've got about a dozen things that are in there that are free. Everything about that is free, and it's very easy to use. And not only that, but they also provide free templates for both Cubase and Logic. Lots of templates, not just one or two. Lots of templates for both of those platforms, so that you can get started right away and get using them very, very productively. Again, we go over to our orchestral library expert, Mr. Kent Spong. Did you download this the other day? I can't remember if you did or not.
Yeah, I did. I think it was on a very useless piece of metal over there at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So I've got to go and get it again. But yeah, I mean, this is a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because it, what we say, it's great to give everybody access to what is a stunning library collection.
Yeah.
But it is like, a drug dealer giving out free packets of heroin at the school gate, drumming up business. Because like you say, you get into it and you go, yeah, I'm going down this road. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to buy that big packet, But that said, Vienna don't do it, and it's probably just as well, because, Vienna is, 14 grand?
I think for the whole lot, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I don't remember...
Is that for the whole city?
Yeah, you'd think, wouldn't you? So that's for their orchestra library, but it's sort of like, in fact, I think it's a little bit more than that. But and they're not doing any sort of like, come taste the sweeties, and then come into my parlour kind of thing.
It's good. I mean, it's obviously
it's good though.
It's worked for Spitfire with the BBC stuff, which I thought was a great plan, because obviously BBC is a public service broadcaster. I think the fact that they offered Discover for nothing, which is similar to this. I think actually this might outdo the BBC SO Discover by a little way. But you can can you imagine, you can 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when some of us were just like desperate to get our hands on anything that sounded half decent. The fact that you can now go out and download a free version of this Berlin Orchestra and the BBC Symphony Orchestra as well, completely free of charge, with no need for expensive hosts or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I downloaded this afternoon. I was busy processing some voice audio, which needed a lot of processing. It was going through a lot of things, and a lot of files, so it was going to take about 15 minutes. So I downloaded this, stuck it up, and bought this up. And about an hour later, I suddenly realised, I really ought to get back on with the audio mixing thing. It's stonking. It's free. It's stonking, and just the sound of it is astonishingly good. It really is astonishingly good, and they're gonna get more. They're gonna get some of my money as well, because I'm going to be looking for other things they do. It's a very clever ploy, and it's a very, very good library. Everyone should have it. It's free. Yeah. Everyone should have it.
If you consider using any orchestral instruments, just stick it in your library, because even if you just use it for one or two things. It's a great deal.
Yeah, you just want some sort of like French horn trombone sort of like in the back every now and again.
Yeah. And it all sits really comfortably in a mix. You mix it with any of the kind of stuff from here or from wherever. It sits really well. It's they've only used one mic mix and one stereo mic mix or whatever. God, it sounds good. It sits really comfortably in a mix. Yeah. So for music making rather than film scoring or whatever. I mean, probably use it for film scoring as well, but certainly for music production, it's great.
I bet there will be people, particularly on smaller budget movies, that where they're using musicians that are on smaller budgets as well. I mean, if we just look at the specification, the string ensemble has 2 articulations. The violins, you've got 4 articulations in there. The violas, again, you've got 4 articulations. The same with the cello. The basses, we can go on and on and on. Solo violin, there's slurred legatos in there as well. Yeah. I mean, the basics are there, and they're really good basics. This isn't some cheap and nasty thing. This is instruments plucked from their premium €2,500.
10 years ago, this would have been an £800 library release.
Yes, exactly.
That's what this is.
Exactly that.
Oh yeah. Maybe even the grand sort of. It's that kind of thing. Yeah. It really is.
It is. We are living in a golden age.
Golden age, man.
But yeah, I think this is brilliant for free, and just go out and get it. I mean, you never.
And the brass was amazing, by the way. The brass is also amazing. Oh,
yeah.
And
having spoken to these guys, they are really, really passionate about what they do.
Can we get them on the show?
I will try. I've still got the gentleman's details from last year, and we spoke a little bit, but he was rather busy. He's got some big projects on, so it kind of petered out. But I will. I don't know if they're hosting a party again this year, and I don't know whether I'll get an invite, but fingers crossed. Because it was a wonderful party on the banks of the Spray the night before Superbooth kicked off. It was a really lovely way to ease yourself into the mode. They did it was a joint thing with a big speaker company. I can't remember the name of the speaker. Was it Adam Audio? Might have been Adam Audio.
Could be Adam. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we'll see. We'll try and get somebody on from there. They'd be very interesting, because they're lovely people. Right. So there you go. That's Orchestral Tools. If you want to avail yourself of that, it's orchestraltools.com. Nice and easy. It's the Berlin Free Orchestra. It is completely, utterly free. No other software is required other than the Signs software that is free also, and you just download that very quickly from them. Yeah. So let's see. What have we got else? We've done the Berlin. We've done the Vox Humana, we've done Geddy. Let's do this one. This is Steve Elbows will like this one. This is something new from our friends at Expressive E. So this is for the Myth instrument. That's not the hit instrument, it's the Myth instrument. Yeah, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. I should have pressed my own button there. So Myth is from Dorsum, which I believe are all part of the Traction family. And this is, I believe it's the third edition of where Expressive E, the makers and the manufacturers of course, the Osmos, have designed 3 sets of presets, 100 in each one, so 300 in total, to work with the Myth plugin. And what they do is they offer the presets as individual packs or as the complete set for 300. And these are all MPE presets, obviously, to work with controllers such as the Osmos. But they also offer this amazing deal where you can, if you haven't got the plugin already, you can get the plugin and the libraries for a greatly reduced price. So at the moment, as you can see here on screen, you can get the Myth plugin plus all 300 presets, which would normally set you back €179 for just 107. But if you already own Myth, you just tick the little box and you see you can get the presets as a package for $35.99 rather than the combined full price of $59.99. So these are this. I think it's the third time they've done this, and they've done this with other instruments like the Kilo Hearts. I can't remember the name of the blooming thing now, but yeah, they've this is the third one that they've done, and it's a really cool way of promoting not only a plugin that supports MPE and a whole bunch of presets that do that, but also Expressive E's own hardware. But the great thing is, it's not limited to anyone that doesn't or does own an Osmos, because anybody with an MPE controller, whether it's something like a Push 3 or whether it's something like an Arturia Polybrute 12 or anything else that supports MPE, you can get the benefit of using these sounds and this plugin as well. So everyone's a winner. But of course, you know, the key driver here would be to promote the Osmos's wonderful capabilities. I was playing with this the other day, and I love this. I mean, I've got a couple of Poly Aftertouch MPE bass controllers, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I cannot confess to knowing all there is to know about MPE. I leave that to Steve Elbows and the many conversations we have where he extols its virtues. But this is a great package and a great price. It's a great way of getting a really cool plugin and 300 properly designed MPE presets for not a lot of money. What do you reckon, Andy? You're muted. Everybody take a drink.
I think you would be very silly to Myth it.
Oh dear, that does. If my buttons were working, I would press the button.
Yeah. If they were. I love this engine. I just really like this engine. It's a bit like, I like the Roly engine as well, but I like this engine a lot. And I'm still, I say this almost every time, I'm still contemplating either the Osmos or the Roly, and I'm not sure which, because I like the idea of MP. I like that. Whenever I'm playing something with vibrato on Aftertouch, or whether it's Poly or otherwise, I still find myself waggling my finger like as if it was on a guitar. So this is a good thing, and at that price to get invested at, yes, I know, a very miserable joke. Yes, yeah, at that price, it is unmythable.
Yes, it is indeed. Kent, do you regret selling your Osmos?
No.
Okay.
No.
That told me.
Do you miss it?
Do you miss it? Yeah.
No, because I got Myth.
Have you?
Yeah.
Cool.
I use it with my Roly.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
And I don't have trouble playing chords on my Roly.
No.
Like
True.
I had
on the Osmos.
God, honestly, I tried, and I practiced, practicing, and I couldn't do it, and I sold it out of frustration. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll certainly be going for a set of these patches.
I mean,
More the merrier.
$35.99 just for the patches if you're
Yeah,
running
exactly.
unplugging.
Yeah, absolutely.
For 300 professionally designed MPE capable patches.
Absolutely.
MPE capable, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the key. That is
Yeah.
the key. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yes, sorry, Steve. Thank you for reminding me. Hive, the Hans Zimmer legend, and Phase Plant. Yeah, Smith is actually the fourth. Thank you for setting me straight on that. But yeah, I think I've got all of those now. I think I bought all of them because they work fantastic. I mean, they work well with my what have I got? Is the Launchpad X that I've got, which is nice, and of course the Polyroot 12. You can stick that into.
I suppose you could equate it to that list as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Although that seemed to be more associated with Rowley for some reason.
Well, I just think it's really cool that Expressive E have said, okay, look, we produce what is a very unique instrument in the Osmos, and ideally, this is we're trying to kind of push that with these things. But they're very upfront and say, look, we've got a third-party plugin, we've worked with them, we've developed 300 presets, brilliant on the Osmos. But if you don't have the Osmos, and you've got something else that's MPE capable, then away you go. It's so I think it's nice to see.
It's really good to see because it always puzzled me why they hadn't sort of done more on that. It was a bit of a mystery, in fact.
Sorry, but that deserves.
Yeah. Spirito Santi, throw him in the skip.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Anyway, so that is the Myth Expressive suite, and no more jokes. The Myth Expressive, or the Myth Expressive.
Was there
or the
some
Myth
then?
Expressive? Yeah,
Not that we noticed.
yeah, quite. The Myth Expressive suite from Expressive E is available now, and you can buy it with the plugin or without the plugin, depending on whether you've got it or not. And if either way, you'll get money off, so that's good.
Yeah.
I may well be trying that out on this. I mean, I know this isn't fully MPE, it's just poly after, but I'm going to be trying it out because it does sound like a good library.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's quickly go to our viewers. Thank you very much indeed. Let's all say a big happy birthday to Peter James Stephen. It's his birthday today. His bless him, his lovely wife made him a jam roly-poly and then dropped it. So it's more like an eaten mess than the jam roly-poly. But as I said to him earlier today, I said it all comes out looking the same, so who cares?
It was a jam splat.
Has he got a dog?
Splat. Yeah, well, he's got at least two.
Well, then those dogs are going, happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, very much. Happy birthday to Peter. You will see Peter on the road with Pro Synth Network out and about this year at some point. The shows keep getting cancelled and
I
postponed.
wish he'd walk on the pavement.
But we'll definitely be at Bristronica, that's for sure. To our good friend Steve in Australia.
Steve the Bastard.
Thank you very much indeed for your wonderful donation. As per usual, it is gratefully received. Thank you very much indeed. Nick was asking earlier if there's a way to donate and let somebody else download the UJam Vox Humana little plugin. I don't know if there is. I don't know quite what happens when you buy it and what the license is, whether you can sort of send that code to somebody else. Probably best to drop UJam a line and see what they say. James Glue is in the chat and he was asking very nicely if we can give a last shout out for the Psychic Dance Hall Festival that takes place in Derby in the UK tomorrow. It features Utopia Strong, Pram, Pleasure Pool, Gaz Williams, and also a little bit of Jim Glue as well in there. So if you want to avail yourself of a wonderful night of electronic music, Psychic Dance Hall Festival in Derby is taking place tomorrow. I believe the only tickets that are left are the £30 tickets. So
Where's
I hope
Derby?
Where's Derby?
Yeah.
It's down the A52 from Nottingham. Don't ask me where.
It's on the other side of Bleeding
It's
Mordor.
the East Midlands, mate. It's the East Midlands.
Mordor.
The other side of Mordor.
You've got to go through the Darklands to get to Derby, don't
You
you?
pretty much have.
Yeah, that's what I thought, mate.
I've been to Derby, I think, twice, and both of those was to go to see football at the Derby ground, which is not Rams Meadow as it used to be. What was it now? Is it called the City Ground? I can't remember now. We lost both both times, I think.
Oh,
So anyway,
well,
but yeah,
used to that.
But anyway, thank you for that, Jim. Hopefully that will get a few more tickets sold for you. Stephen, the Mythic Expressive Suite, has donated another couple of bucks. Thank you very much indeed. Most appreciated.
Well read.
Question from Nick, who is our resident question meister. Do us three think that whilst Expressive E have done a brilliant job with Osmos, it still needs one of the big guns to put it into a more mainstream keyboard, Roland, Yamaha, Korg, Behringer?
Not sure they will.
I don't know.
But, I mean, it would be
At the
good to
moment-
think it did.
I mean, I know that...
Well, two
our
of us
resident-
think Expressive have done a brilliant job.
I just think
I
that
like it.
whilst
Didn't
MPE
like it.
is still kind of an evolving thing. I know that,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm just, every time I say anything about MPE, my eyes dart across to the comments section to be corrected rather proficiently by Steve Elbows. But yeah, as he says, the Japanese giants have shown very little interest in it. And I just wonder whether it's still, because it hasn't been set in stone,
Well,
or
it's
whether...
taken them nearly 30 years to get interested in poly aftertouch again, for
Well,
Christ's
this is
sake.
true.
So,
This is true. But I almost think that the whole kind of MIDI 2.0 and the MPE thing is much better suited to the smaller companies that can be more agile and adapt to this kind of thing. Whereas with your big guys like Roland and Yamaha and Korg, and maybe to a degree Behringer, it's a bit like turning an oil tanker. It's a slow process to kind of get them.
Do you know? I was thinking about this the other day. It does occur to me that one of the reasons the big boys haven't done this is just simply they've got a reputation to uphold, and they've got to maintain these things. So if they put something like even poly aftertouch into one of their big boys, they've got to maintain it. So it's got to be robust enough and expensive enough to actually last a decent amount of time. Once you start throwing in MPE with even more stuff to go wrong, I imagine just from a looking forward, casting forward, and going, well, how are these going to last? I think that they are probably, exactly as Robbie says, waiting for it all to settle down a bit and maybe find something that's a bit more buttoned down.
Yes,
but it's a bit.
Well, I found out something the other day or the other week. So this little thing that I have to my right and Kent has to his right as well, Polybrute 12 has this wonderful full touch keyboard, which is brilliant and wonderful and very expressive. However, if you break it or it needs fixing for whatever reason, at the moment, as I understand it, the only place that can do that is the Arturia factory in France. So it's not like you can take it to your local synth tech like Kent, because that mechanism that they use in there is incredibly complex. And I was told that simply to replace a key would require the whole keyboard being recalibrated. And the only people at the moment that have that equipment to do that is Arturia. Now, I don't know what's involved. I don't know whether that is something that can be done externally, or whether they've got plans to, maybe get the distributors to, in the regions, be able to do those sorts of things locally. But it would appear that, something that is as intricate and sophisticated as an Osmos or a Polybrute 12 or any of those other kind of things, the support has to be very specific and therefore quite expensive. And I guess, Korg and Yamaha, and again, whenever they produce a product, part of that R&D process is support and after sales. And how do we, if we have a faulty one, how do we repair it? Do we swap it like for like, or do we have local agents on the ground that deal with it on, in the various territories? So, there's lots of things to be considered in that. And if something is as specific as an Osmos, do they want to get into that level of detail at the moment until somebody comes up with
is with the big girls as well, they have pre-planned roadmaps.
Yeah.
So something like, they see the Osmos come along, they see it do well, Roly, limited success because of all the cobblers going on in the background, and obviously the PB12, the PB12s are everywhere. And and it's not a cheap keyboard, and the sales figures on these must be quite impressive. But the big guys going, yeah, but we were going to do that this year, and then we're doing that, so we'll have to, later on. Whereas a younger company like Arturia have been probably talking about this 5 years ago.
10 years.
10 years, Kent. 10 years.
Now,
Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
So the big East, they've got their roadmap, and
Yeah. I mean, it's like lots of people were complaining, and I was one of them, that the Arturia Keylab 88 Mark III, as wonderful and as gorgeous as it is, doesn't support poly aftertouch. Well, that's probably because the Mark III has been in development for a while, and that keyboard, the key mechanism that they've adopted, which is a brand new one from Fatar, has probably been in development for a little while. And so, like you say, roadmap, it's not on it. The Mark IV, yeah, I'm sure that'll probably be there.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder if Fatar aren't developing this kind of MPE keyboard. Then that also says, they make all keyboards for so many people. That tells you something about how difficult it is and how difficult it is to support it.
Well, I mean, who's making the keyboards for the Complete Control 3?
Do you know?
Because that definitely has a Fatar look to it.
Is it Fatar? I can't remember. I'm sure somebody said to me the other day.
Because that's a little. Well, at least the 3s are poly 18 now, aren't they?
Yeah, because Fatar only do at the moment, I think, unless they're doing something custom and bespoke that's not in their main catalogue. The only Fatar poly aftertouch keyboard is the 61 Synth Action, which I believe is in one of the Waldorf keyboards. I can't remember if it's the Quantum or the M, or both. I can't remember now. But unless, of course, they've got a custom design. I mean, the Full Touch that the Polybrute uses is custom, is exclusive to Arturia.
Yeah, that I can believe, because even the keys don't look like all the other keys.
No.
There's nothing.
And
about
this has its
standard.
own. This has its own mechanism and whatever
Yamaha,
as well.
Yeah.
And it's apart from the repeat note thing, the bounce back, it's a stunning keyboard to play. But God, if anything went wrong with that, even at $4,000, this is a very expensive instrument. But there's not a lot of meat left on the bone if something goes wrong. There's just not. So yeah.
Culture of Ghost says it's the Fatar TP9 on his 61 Mark III. So I don't know what it is on the Hammer Actions. So anyway, there you go. There's our thoughts on that one. Let's see. We've got a couple of other things to talk about here. So that was Expressive E's Myth Expressive Suite. Nice to finally say that there is a more affordable version of the Rhodes. The new Rhodes has now got a companion called the Rhodes Stage 61. It's a 61 key version of the Rhodes instrument that was reintroduced as the Mark 8 recently. We had Dan on the show, Dan Goldman on the show, and telling us all about that a while back. You can now get a stage version, 61 keys, encapsulated in a large plastic shell, road-worthy shell. It did say what the material was. It's ABS, that's right. You've got it's just a gig-ready Rhodes. If you don't want to take your expensive Mark 8 out on the road, excuse the pun, but it contains pretty much everything else internally as the same as the Mark 8, with the same German-made key mechanism and everything else in there. Whilst it is cheaper than the Rhodes Mark 8, it's still quite a hefty price for this beast. The Stage 61 Standard Edition, $6,500 US, $5,000 UK, €6,000. The Launch Edition, which I guess is a limited version of the 61, which, as you can see, has got that orange kind of, or the orange and white stripe, which I think looks rather fetching, actually. You pay a premium of around 500 of your currency on top of that. They expect to ship in about 6 months, and pre-orders start next week on the 25th of March. So if you want to reserve your unit, you need to make a deposit of at least 20% of the final price. And if you pay in full up front, they'll throw in the $500 stand for free. So there's an incentive to get you to commit. But I mean, it does look, it's a lovely thing. Let's just bring that up. It does look very nice. But do you want to gig £6,000 or £5,000?
No.
You'd rather probably just take a cheap controller and a really good sample library.
There's no preamp built in. It still weighs £59.
Yes, it's still.
And to be honest, it's butt ugly. I don't like the look of it at all. I just don't like the look of it.
It's the sound. It's this wonderful sound.
The sound. I want the 8. If I'm going to go for the sound, I want the 8. I don't, And there's other instruments out there that have this cover for an awful lot less. I think this is a bit Emperor's New Clothes, to be honest. But that's just me being a minging old bugger, really.
Well, I just hope it's not history repeating itself here. Because when Rhodes brought out their Mark II, it was ecking awful. It was awful. It was really nasty.
This has got pretty much all the internal, especially the key core mechanism is the same as the Mark VIII, which we know
that's all right.
Impeccable.
That's what matters.
Yeah, it's got the full wooden keys, everything. Just doesn't. It's passive, and it just has volume and tone. Doesn't have any of the effect stuff.
Sorry, someone I've got to post.
Looks
like a barbecue. Well,
set one on fire. See how
get the sausages
it does.
And
It does have a look about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, I want this kind. I want these guys to succeed because it's the hand built thing or what. This just seems. I can't see what bit of this makes me want to pay a premium price. The Mark VIII, I can every day of the week.
Well,
every day of the week.
I think more likely it will be more appealing to the people who can't afford the Mark VIII.
Yeah.
And
what?
It's an option, isn't it?
$6,000?
It was 8.
No, the Mark VIII.
The 61. Yeah, no, the 61.
The Mark VIII is.
But if you can't afford a Mark VIII, which is a lot more,
yeah, then this is an option.
Next best thing, isn't it? I mean, they can
we
can bring it to me, and I'll stop it looking like a Formula One car from the '60s. But
I kind of like that look.
Do you like
we
that
all
look?
know, yeah,
you're a bit of a rally guy anyway.
We all know someone who's getting a Mark VIII very soon, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Custom jobby. So maybe we'll ask them.
Yeah.
What they think.
Yeah.
I can't.
I like
the
Mark
VIII.
a lot.
I can't. Yeah, but I can't help look. That reminds me when I look at it, I see it's a EP200A. But it won't sound like a Wurlitzer, that's the problem. But the Rolly sound is lovely, and these Fenders are beautiful as well, and they like messing with them, don't they? Because Rolly messes with their pianos for no apparent reason.
If
why
somebody
did you do that? It was
gave me
perfect.
one of these, I wouldn't kick it out of bed.
Well, that's it. If it was in a raffle, email them.
Yeah.
Tell them to do a
Dan,
raffle.
have you got one left over in the
Yeah,
garage?
we'll do a raffle, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 entrants.
There you go. So that is the Rhodes Stage 61. You can order it from the 25th of this month. All you got to do is go to the Rhodes website, which I believe is rhodesmusic.com. That's correct, rhodesmusic.com. And you can pre-order one of those. And say you can get the launch edition, which has got the custom paint job. And if you pay in full up front, you get the stand thrown in, which is worth $500 as well. So that's nice. Let's see, what else have we got? We've done that, and that leaves us with just a couple of things. This one, I threw this in kind of last minute. Let me see. I've got a little video. I'll play a little bit of this because we haven't got much time. This is new from Tim Exile. It's called Pattern Shift.
Pattern Shift.
Oh!
That was a little...
Pattern Shift is a generative performance instrument for Ableton Push. Launch, switch, and blend generative patterns. Mix and combine the generative engines. Create themes based on collections of patterns. Browse your collections. Wander Mode is a generative autopilot.
So there you go. This is Pattern Shift from the brain of Tim Exile, who's delivered some rather unique things over the years. This it's $59, available from Tim Exile's Patreon page, but you will need an Ableton Push 2, and I think 3 support is either in the bag. Again, Steve Elbows, who was helping him out on that, Push 3 support is either available now or coming very soon. But you will need a full version of Native Instruments Reactor, because that's the engine that sits behind all of this. But it's as it says in there, it's kind of a generative control system for these instruments, and allows you to launch and manipulate all of these things using your Ableton Push. Apparently, Push 3 support came out yesterday, so there you go. It's an interesting thing. It's not me. This is definitely not what I'm into, but I kind of like the ingenuity that's been thrown into this.
Yeah.
And if you already own Reactor and the Push 2 or 3, then 59 euros, I think it is, or dollars. Can't remember, was it $59? Let's just throw that up on the screen. So you can get this from Tim's Patreon page. There it is, $59. But you will need a full version of Reactor to load the instruments into. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool thing. I haven't had a chance to play with it. Maybe I will at some point soon. It will change my mind. It's not my kind of thing. But any thoughts on this one quickly? Because we've only got about 5 minutes.
I'm happy to, yeah. I mean, it's a very specific thing for a very specific control panel and a very specific piece of software. But the idea behind it and the way it's executed, if I had both of those, I'd get it in a heartbeat at $59. I really like it. I could see myself going out and doing live EMOMs. I could use this for that. It's a mad piece of software. Well done, that man. But tiny market, but great idea. Really good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Ken, any thought? I mean, I know this probably isn't your thing at all, but
No, it isn't. Although I have dabbled with that. What's that software you have on the iPad? Is it the Novation thing?
oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
But-
that, and thoroughly enjoyed that. It's just, that button pushing thing is sort of like, it's great. You can do stuff with it, but it's something I wouldn't pursue too hard. But it looks good. I like the operation of it seems quite smooth. Wasn't too much throwing hands about all over the place.
Every time I see a push being used, I think I want one.
Yeah, much the same.
But I want a Push 3. And I probably want the standalone version, which is the most expensive version, about 1,600 euros, I think, or something like that. And that's into a significant price range where I think, but if I didn't like it, that's a lot of money to have thrown away. So, and I know lots of people will say, well, if I buy it and I don't like it, I'll sell it and maybe I'll lose a couple of £100. But I'm always like, I don't know.
I've been talking to some pals of mine who are musicians that haven't done a lot of music for a while, but they're getting more busy, and we're just talking about doing some stuff recently. And their thing at the moment is they just want to break down and get rid of a lot of their kit because they only want to use stuff they can use live. And therefore they want to have a few instruments they know really, really well. This is the kind of thing that would get me up there doing that kind of thing as well. It's an interesting thing. It's a really interesting device.
Yeah, and Tim is, brain the size of a planet. He's a very clever guy. He comes up with some things. And I think this one's going to be a real hit. So yeah, well done. This I'm just going to mention this really because I was going to stick it on the list, but completely forgotten. Somebody mentioned it in the chat, and I thought, I didn't put that down. But this is an interesting release from our friends at UVI, because UVI have the Sonic Pass, which is, I think, probably pound for pound the best subscription service you can get if you're a musician with a computer, because for around 24, I think it's 24 euros, it's about 20 quid a month, you get access to everything that UVI have done and will do and they have got a ton of stuff, an absolute ton of it. But of course, there is a significant amount of people out there that don't want to subscribe to anything. They just want to buy something and then own it, and that's that. So they've come up with Sonic Bundle, and Sonic Bundle pretty much covers almost everything, if not everything, that they do up until this point. So depending on your ownership of UVI content at this moment in time, your offer price will differ. So for example, it should be €799. Because I own a few UVI bits, I only have to pay $599. If you own a lot more, your price will probably be a lot less. I know that Steve Elbows and I were having a talk about this the other day. He owns a bit more than I do. He's got a lower price. 116 UVI products in a single purchase. Over 1,000 instruments, combined value of €12,000, over 2 million samples. You get the instruments, you get the packs, you get the effects units, you get Falcon with all of its very specific patch banks that you can get there, studio effects, soundware collections, including the latest Mosaic. You get Key Suite, Synth Anthology 4, Augmented Orchestra, all of that stuff is in there. Loads of premium single instruments such as EGP, which I think is a beautiful CP70 library that they have. The Nagoya harp, the soul drums and bass, loads of sound effects, and then of course all their vintage stuff as well. And yeah, you can see it all there. You know what UVI do. They do a huge amount of stuff. So you can buy this bundle as a one-off purchase. Of course, the downside is that as soon as UVI release something new, you'll have to buy that as an extra thing. This just gets you everything that's in the pack today. If you want the new stuff, then the subscription model is probably the best thing. But Sonic Pass is stunningly good value for money. If you hold it up against, say, like Roland Cloud doesn't get close in terms of value for money to Sonic Pass. Sonic Pass is a brilliant package, but as a one-off purchase, this is not bad. Quick thoughts on this, guys, because we've got 2 minutes left. Andy?
Yeah, great. It's a great opportunity to get involved, but like you say, $24 a month. I'm subscription is the way, and it gives you so much for so little.
Absolutely,
it's a great idea. $599 if you that's a good price.
Well, $799 full price. Mine was $599. It all depends on what you own. Mr. Spong, any thoughts on this before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I hate subscription. I would buy this. I'm one of those buy it, give it to me, it's mine, go away, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Kind of guys. So this would be ideal.
Yeah, good stuff there. But that's from UVI, available now. Go and say if you own some UVI stuff, go and log into your account and check what price that you've got there. The more, I guess, you own, the cheaper this will be.
I've got quite a few UVIs. I might have a look at that and see what.
I've always liked that. I've over the recent years, I've tended to err towards software instruments that are modelling, the things that they want, rather than sampling. Because I find there's a bit more flexibility. But with the UVI stuff, their sampling is so detailed and their scripting is so good that it is almost like having a modelled instrument.
Feels like it's modelled.
Yeah,
even though it's
really
sample based. Yeah,
they are very, very good, and I've been using their stuff since before they had Falcon. I was using Mac 5, which is the instrument they developed for Motu. And I've been using their stuff for a very long time. I think my first ever UVI library was the time they did the emulator. It's called Emulation was the pack, and that's what kind of switched me on to them. And then I discovered more of their stuff, and then the third party stuff, which there's a lot of third party stuff.
Slippery slope.
It is indeed. But they're a great bunch of people.
But I think I've got a couple of grand pianos in the Falcon.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you've got the C7 from Acoustic
C7
Samples.
one.
Yeah, that's
gorgeous.
So it's their own player engine, isn't it?
Yeah. So it uses the UVI engine, which you can have for free in UVI Workstation or Falcon, and of course, if you buy this, you get Falcon in there as well. Obviously, when they upgrade certain things, you'll have to pay upgrade prices if you go this route. Whereas if you have the subscription service, then everything is just there. As soon as something new comes out, it's in your library. So it's very good. Anyway, there you go. That is a show. We've done very well. We didn't have a huge amount of stuff, and we've got through to the end, which is good. So let's just remind everyone that there are loads of other shows within the community over particularly the weekend. So you've got Symptoms of Reality that are doing shows every day. You've got tomorrow, you've got Andy Synchrotron and his drones at 10 a.m. UK. So make sure you subscribe to him. Then you've got Ramsey at 1 o'clock UK time. So there'll be that to see you through Saturday afternoon. You've got Jason Jervis, Get Jervis, with his kitty cats and his modular stuff. He's doing a show on Sunday, I believe, at, is it 10 p.m. on the Sunday? I think it's 10 p.m. on the Sunday. Yeah.
Jim
10 p.m. on the
Jams.
Sunday. And then, of course, you've got Geosynths as well. Jamie Morden, Geosynths, 6 p.m. on Sunday. So your weekend is covered. Say, going throughout the whole week, you've got SOR. You've got Synth Samurai, and he's got a new channel called the Synth Mafia Renegades, which is almost like a multi-personality thing. So it's not just Samurai, it's a whole bunch of other people doing other stuff, and they have a kind of a radio show each week, which is actually quite interesting. I found myself listening to that, where they just chat, and there's none of this, there's no faces or personalities. It's almost like listening to a radio chat show. So yeah, there's some good stuff on there. So there's lots and lots of stuff. So please do go and check those people out. Don't forget, thank you very much, Tom, for reminding me. The London Synth and Pedal show is this weekend in Hackney Wick. If you haven't got a ticket, you will need one, but it is free. But you need a ticket because they are space limited, so they have to manage the people ins and outs. So please do go and get a ticket if you want to go and see that. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I've got other things that I've got to do. So it's a shame, but
and isn't there a senior synth stream tomorrow night as well?
There is. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, Henrik is doing a senior synth stream at 8 p.m. UK time tomorrow. Of course, Sonic State on Wednesday, as always, Old Faithful, as we like to call it. So there's lots of stuff going on, and yeah, we'll be back same time, same place next week. I believe I'm around for that show because I've got some. I don't think I'm away until. Is it April? I've got. Record Store Day in April is my next one, so I've got loads of time.
There we go.
And we are gearing up for Berlin for Super Booth. So it looks like we are going to be able to access, outside of Super Booth, a couple of incredible venues full of synthesizers. And we'll be taking our cameras and our microphones and hopefully capturing some of that. I don't want to make too many promises because one of them's definitely confirmed. The other one is mostly confirmed. But we'll be able to hopefully bring you some extracurricular content from Super Booth, as well as stuff from the actual event itself. So fingers crossed. And each day, whenever I see something that mentions Berlin, I just go, oh, it's getting close, it's getting close. I'm getting very excited for that. So, loads of stuff coming that way. But we will see you same time, same place next week. Until then, make sure you do hit the subscribe and the like buttons and all of that kind of stuff. Do go and visit us at our merch store. We've got loads of new merch for you to buy. Support the channel. Emblazon yourself with the ProSynth Network logo. It's just brilliant seeing these things out in public. Take pictures, as you saw with our friend Justin. He took a picture as soon as he got his vest top. There he is. So take pictures, send them in to us. We will feature them on the show. Oh, and don't forget, because we haven't got anything in the barrel, we've emptied the barrel of Synthspirations. Loads of people have said to me, "Oh, I've got to do you one. I've got to do you one. Do one." Do one and send it in. In fact, let me just quickly play the trailer. We want to know what music inspired you to make music with synthesizers. Be it an album, single, or an entire artist's body of work, we want you to tell us why it inspired you, and given that we're a synth show, which instruments used on that album really made an impact. All you need to do is film yourself talking about your synthspiration for a few minutes, and we'll feature it on the show and discuss it. Send your video clips along with your name or handle to prosynthnetwork@gmail.com using a file sharing service like WeTransfer, and you could feature on a ProSynth Network live show soon. If you get your synthspirations into us for next week, you could be our 5th birthday synthspirations, because next week is our 5th official birthday. I don't know what we can do for that. I really haven't got any idea. Whether we just do a regular show and just, as we do as gentlemen of our age, we ignore our birthdays.
Yeah.
I still think the Adamant makeup would be a good one.
Not happening. Not happening. Just not happening.
No.
But yeah, 5th birthday show next week, so stick around and make sure you come along for that one. I am off because my wife is waiting very patiently. We've got the season finale of Severance to watch. We're all very excited, and we're all going to be incredibly confused by the end of it, I'm sure. But until next week, have a fantastic weekend. Look after yourselves and take care. Make sure you make lots and lots of music. And don't forget to give us a subscribe and a like and a thumbs up and all that kind of stuff. And gentlemen, thank you for your contributions. As always, thanks to the audience. Thanks to our moderators in the chat. You've all been wonderful. And we will see you same time, same place next week. Ta-ra. Bye-bye.
Bye.